3, clap! That's the start of the podcast now. Hi guys! How's it going? Welcome to Critical Reroll, a super professional weekly podcast where we talk about a little show you might have heard of called Critical Role. Today we're talking about episode 44. My name is Jess, and you might also know me as Fordcaster420 on Reddit.
I am Matt, and this is taking out of my Super Smash Brothers time.
I am Kate, and I love little seahorse unicorns.
Yes. I mean, who doesn't love little seahorse unicorns? Everything.
It's totally on brand for me.
So perfect. It's so good. Oh no, I'm doing. Damn it! No, stop. I'm gonna no voice, no me. It's not my job.
It gets stuck. It gets stuck.
I know.
Once you go blue,
there's no saving
You can't undo.
There we go.
So basically, where we left off last time, they headed northeast from Darktoe on their half-holy boat. I don't even know. They managed to get a ping from the orb. So Ford went ahead and just, no big deal, made everyone breathe water. And then they cannonballed down to the bottom of the ocean. And that's kind of where we started this episode. Right off the bat, Caduceus tries to cast Eyes of the Grave, but the only thing around them is their new whale friend.
I speak well.
Hello. I hope one of them can speak whale.
I would bet I could use this being able
well, I was
to speak well.
Yeah, I feel like he would just... Caduceus would be a whale in the ocean if they were all ocean creatures, because he would just be like slow and chill and just mellow. Just like, hi, guys. Just gonna open my mouth and eat this krill. That's it. I've decided. But yeah, they start, looking around. Is this where Deshilla is? Bo, for some reason, has that song like crazy memorized at this point.
We have a few days on the ship. You can, do things like that. You that's the only leads they have on what this thing is. Let's just memorize the song to kind of help us out and maybe get some ideas.
Yeah.
What we're facing. And she was pairing things up as they went through this entire episode. She's like, that's that thing!
Yeah.
That's that thing!
That's the first stanza. There's the second stanza.
That's the chorus! Oh my god, guys!
There's the claws. There's the claws. She's got claws that grasp. Yeah, they went through the whole song, and they made it to the end of the song. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I also like the fact that when Jester brought it up, is this where Deshilla is? Ford was like, oh no, it's a pretty big ocean. What are the chances? And she's like, they're pretty good. The chances are pretty good that she's here. That's why we're here doing this thing.
Oh, Ford.
Which was interesting to me though, because the very first line once Matt did the whole recap thing, it's usually a joke now. Travis is like, oh well, we saw the ship, we can go now. But then the next thing was Laura as Jester being like, so are we down here looking for the orb? And he's like, well, if we can find it, that's great. But then once they get the ping that the orb was down there, he's like, we gotta get this orb now. We gotta go now. Nothing else matters but this orb. We gotta go.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's when will the lies stop, Ford?
Never!
Yep. And so as they're investigating this first boat, as they're discussing Deshilla, they realize it is in fact Ford's old boat. Ship, I suppose I should say. Yep. Yep.
So we've just been called out by Dizzy by Nature because we all did not discuss the new intro.
Oh,
I'm so gonna get back to it.
I think
I'm so
This is what my assumption was.
It was that awkward open. I am so sorry. And what's so funny is that I was the one guys, we're talking about it, right? We're gonna do it. We're gonna talk about the open, right? Right? Do we need to? Yes! Can we please talk about the open? And then I walked right past it. I'm so sorry. Thank you for calling us out. right before we started watching, we were all like rewatching it several more
Yeah,
times.
we discussed
this-
it before. The
Frame
podcast.
by frame.
Yeah, and this is the perfect time for one of our questions, guys. If you ever want to send us a question, you don't want to like put spoilers out there on the internet for people, we do have a Google sheet. Please feel free to send us our questions. This one came from none other than our own King Sundu, and it was, in fact, honestly, how many times did you watch the new Critical Role intro?
A lot.
I don't- How can you even count? How can you
Well,
Can't.
even?
so we watched it live when it happened, and then they played
Yeah.
it again, and then
Yep.
and when they went to break, I found the YouTube link and probably watched it another 4 times. 2 just to hear it, 2 just to watch it. And then I dreamt about it, so I'm gonna count those. And then before this, we watched it maybe 4 times, real slowly, going frame by frame. So like
Yeah,
3,000.
Literally frame. Guys, did you see this? Guys, what about this? At 43
Oh,
seconds.
at
what about
43
this?
seconds.
Yeah,
Did you guys notice this? Yeah,
The
we were
dead
at-
tabaxi. We're like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. Go ahead. The dead tabaxi. Give it to us.
no, well, we. No,
Oh, that was it. That was really it.
was
So
it.
we
That
went
was
frame
all
by
it was.
frame, and there's
43 seconds.
43
seconds
seconds
in.
in.
It's the Yasha surrounded by dead bodies, which is a good like little backstory fun bit for Yasha, for us to see. And you guys both thought that was like obvious and like touched on a lot already, and I was like, I thought that was sort of fairly new-ish when we were
Well,
talking before the podcast started.
We knew that she came from
war.
a war zone.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
And like
that's yeah.
we didn't have any specifics, but we had images of her like standing with a bunch of dead bodies, but then those bodies turned into worms.
Yeah.
It was
I
just
guess
like,
I just imagined it sort of differently. I imagined her like coming from there and her talking about like sort of like because she seemed to like every time it came up she sort of didn't want to talk about it and she was kind of like it's just not a great place. It's just not a great place. Don't want to go back. Like I wasn't expecting to see like bodies with like swords and axes
and
sticking
then
out
a
of
horse,
them.
multiple horses.
The poor horse was just laying there like. "Nah."
It took me forever to
Yeah.
realize that like it was the long face of a horse sideways.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and
Um,
then and you were saying like there's one that's like clearly like must be a tabaxi, but it looks kind of like a large cat, like almost like a lion head. Like was that like are different races more common over there in like Jorhas or
Well, Jorha is. I feel like that's where like all the odd, not oddball ones, but like the non players handbook ones come
yeah.
from. Like all the Asmar, all the Tabaxi, all the Kinku, all the Aarakocra comes from that side.
yeah, yep.
It's just kind of the way I see it. Other
yeah.
than that, my
Does
favorite.
everyone have a favorite moment?
My part is the jester hamster unicorns, but specifically the one whose horn like grows because it's like Pokemon. Yeah, that's mine.
Yeah.
Um,
I didn't
like
notice that until you sent that like one of the unicorns in particular, his horn like grows,
Yeah.
and I like
Apparently, it's a reference to Gurren Lagann, which is an anime that I've never watched, but I know that like there's a mech with a horn that grows. So the animator really liked that show, I guess, and did it.
mm-hmm. Kate.
I love the shot of Caduceus in the grove. It's just so gorgeous.
Yeah. That's my favorite in terms of just like as one still shot, Caduceus standing in that beautiful grove with graves and like just the all the species of plants that are clearly in there, and he's just holding his cup of tea, and there's a beautiful purple little butterfly, by the way, guys, that you also see hanging out with Caduceus in another shot.
So what is the deal with the butterfly?
Y'all said it.
Yeah, it's totally. I feel like it's a
It's
reference
totally
to
Molly.
Molly. Yeah.
It's purple.
Yeah.
It is purple, and Molly's everything purple.
I just keep thinking of the little butterfly in The Last Unicorn. It comes by singing.
Oh.
Just a butterfly.
Yeah.
You must.
Oh,
But I fear we will
train.
talk about the intro for the
Well,
next hour.
Okay, but also
Yeah,
just
it was
really
so
quickly,
good.
as Jester is leaving, like little baby Jester is leaving with all her like amazing like drawings on the walls, several of them which are like her holding hands with the traveler, by the way, and the hand is taking the pen and writing, which like but as she's walking out, for half a second on the door, there's a gate on the door. So there's a door on the door, and
There's also penises.
Yep.
Oh yeah, there's also
also-
penises.
Dicks on the door.
It's like there's dicks all over the place. Jess is like, where? I'm like, everywhere.
Yeah, I looked and I was like, well, because they're just very
Those
misshapen.
are
At first, I
not
thought they were like,
hearts.
I thought they were hearts for half a second,
Not
and I was like, oh no, those hearts have 3 parts, not 2. Okay. Yup. Yep. A lot of people in chat, Liam Gray saying like the raven on Molly's coat. I know a lot of people
That's an
called
awesome touch.
a lot of people called that one out, and also like I really loved like for a still shot, I love the caduceus in the like the wildness with the flowers and stuff, but
Yeah.
the moment where he like mushrooms all the
Yes.
corpses is bananas good.
Yes.
A lot of people
And
have
then
said that.
the Bo Yasha action sequence where Bo's doing the swirl and then Yasha ducks under her. So good.
That's a good moment. Like it's just such a like just 2 big beautiful buff ladies having a moment, and it's really really great
Gets
to
ya.
watch. It gets me. Stuff. Anyway, so back to I hope that satisfies everyone's craving. Sorry I didn't talk about it immediately. We're gonna head back underwater now. We're gonna head back.
The song and the fact that it's them singing
The fact that it's there.
is
Oh
awesome.
my god, when it started and I was like, that's Laura! And then like you have the harmonies with Ashley and like it's so good.
And then it's like I could hear Sam in the background. Like I picked that one out, and then it's like, oh, and Travis is there too. I was like, wait, what? So that was fun.
They do like nice little harmony progression at the mall or at the caduceus scene afterwards.
Yeah, it was so
Yeah.
good. I'm happy that they all were able to like kind of jump in on that. Like
Yeah,
that.
and oh my god, and the fact that Sam and Travis kept that secret for 5 months is bananas.
Yeah.
Bananas. That's crazy.
Bananas.
May I return to the ocean now?
Uh,
Can we go under the sea?
Under
Is
the
where I
sea.
live. Under me?
Under the sea. Yeah, so basically they're wondering about Deshella. They're wondering if they're already where she is, but they're on Ford's old boat to begin with. Ford's old ship, gosh. And that's when Ford gets into talking a little bit about how they already knew, but it was Sabian that blew up the ship. That he like literally saw Sabian like coming down, leaving.
I
jumping
kept
off.
meaning to go back to his old tellings of that story to see if like there was any holes
It's
in
changed.
it.
Oh,
But Kate
that's
has
a
something.
good-
Kate's giving us.
Kate's theory. Kate's going off on her crack theory
Let's
again.
go. Buckle up.
let's do it. Let's do it.
What
hear-
if Ford is actually Sabian? What
Oh, that's
if?
different than what you said earlier.
No, but
it's
that's
not. That's what I
That's what she said earlier.
Oh,
It
I
is
thought
what
she said Ford was
earlier.
Vandrin.
Well, that was what I originally said. And then I was like, holy crap, what if it's like Fight Club and Ford is actually Sabian and is like either like disassociated or like or is just plain evil and knows that he is Sabian. So like what? Like, come on, how cool would that be?
Mhm.
Leonard agrees with you in
Right.
chat.
Right? What if Ford is Sabian?
That I don't. It's weird. I don't trust
is
anything
weird.
Ford says. I mean, we're all
Well,
we're all
is
kind of
that-
on that page.
Yes.
Right.
2,000,000% do not trust anything Ford says.
No.
But we have had like while they were on the coast, they did have other people saying like mentioning accounts of Sabian seeing him around, and despite talking to Ford and being like, yeah, you know that guy's a dick. You know what I mean? Like
He's got the mask of faces.
absolutely,
What?
totally possible.
Yeah. Labrat is saying, why would he look for Sabian then? Is
Oh,
does
He's on the
Sabian?
trail.
Yeah, either to throw them off the trail or because
Or he's
disassociated.
Right.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't know that he's the same person as Sabian.
But like, okay, that would make sense that people have seen Sabian in Nicodranas because Ford was in Nicodranas.
Yeah, exactly like Fight Club style that he doesn't
Exactly.
realize that he is.
I'm on board. I'm on board.
Right?
Sorry, spoilers for Fight Club if you've never seen it, but at the very end, it turns out he is.
I've never seen it, but I know the ending.
He is Helena Bonham Carter. Sorry about that.
He's actually, yep. That's exactly what it turns out to be.
Anyway.
I like it. I could get on board.
Okay. But we also talked about the fact that we know that he's talking in Vandrin's voice. That is an ongoing thing. Like that very near the beginning, we heard him accidentally or slash like he was sleeping and he used his own natural voice and it was different from the voice we hear Ford use all the time. And Jester even called it out and said, last episode, so, you know, when this is all over, are you going to stop talking like Vandrin? So is he Vandrin? Is he just, you know, a big fan of Vandrin? Like, because he said that Vandrin was a mentor to him, that he meant a lot to him. So is it just like...
But like, what
he's a liar!
Yeah, but like, what reason does he have to lie, though, is the thing. Like, why
evil
lie? I don't understand.
He bumped his head and something's going on.
Yeah, I don't think he knows who he is.
No. Something is going on, and I don't know what it is, and I love it.
I don't know if we talk about this now or later, because there's a whole Ford chunk later. I'm gonna save it for later. I'm gonna save it for later.
Okay.
But yeah, that's when they're still down there. They're still looking around. And Jester finds an empty box that pretty clearly would have contained an orb, and that it has claws. What did you call it? Deshilla claws?
Deshilla claws. It's like the worst Santa Claus ever. It's Deshilla claws.
Their holiday Krampus version of Santa Claus.
Yes.
If you're not good,
Krampus.
Deshilla claws is gonna come.
Yes.
Is gonna come get
Krampus.
you. The worst ocean Krampus. Yeah. So basically, Jester finds that empty box. She does locate object and senses it like directly behind them, and so it starts steering them that way. But at this point, you know, they've had a bunch of lights floating around, they've been making a lot of noise, and suddenly they're in a fight with 3 Murrows.
Naturally.
As you do.
Yeah. It's underwater, so it happens.
They're like, you fought things that like shiny things before. So yeah.
I'm sad there wasn't a shark fight, because like
and amazing.
In all forms of media, sharks live in underwater ships. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
Right. Like, clearly The Little Mermaid taught us this.
Mm-hmm,
Yep.
And Finding Nemo.
And Finding Nemo. Like, we need Bo punching a shark.
But we didn't get it, and that's fine.
Or, like, the shark.
He's breaking away from tropes. That's progress. Let's go.
Fair enough.
The only thing about the fight that I liked was the end, when they found a key, a rusted key, and I swear if that doesn't open something in 20 to 40 episodes... I will just not watch another episode of Critical Role.
Okay.
You're just saying that because you want to go play Smash Bros.
Yeah, and maybe in 20 to 40 episodes we'll have the new Pokemon game, but that's another story. Let's continue.
So we head over to the other boat, the other shipwreck, and we get
Rex plural.
Ricks.
Yeah, because they find out it is a boat graveyard.
Yeah.
Tyrannosaurus shipwreck.
What's the name of it? The something graveyard? What is it called?
The divers.
Yeah, Diver's Grave.
The Diver's Grave.
They found it.
And we find out why afterwards, but let's
like
save that.
Which was a really cool thing. I'm like, Marisha takes weird notes, I've heard, like full pages of just like 1 or 2 words. But she takes good notes, because this whole time she's the only one that's like recalling all these things, like, why are there a bunch of ships that wreck here? What's the reason? Are we going to figure that out while we're down here? I'm like, yes, asking the right questions. Things that, like, I would be interested in.
Which we did kind of get an answer in the end.
Yeah.
In the end.
Why there's so many ships.
In the best way.
Yep. In the best
Yep. Way. Yep. We do get the tale of Buttonbeard and his button graveyard, as Ford is trying to convince Not of that, and Not, even while drunk, is like, come on, Ford, I'm not gonna fall for this, until they walk upon a doorway littered in like coins and gold and shiny things, and suddenly Not is convinced about the Buttonbeard, and what does she have to do to appease him so as they don't have any problems. We have the wonderful Caleb Frumpkin octopus vision moment,
Which is
there's
pretty
some
cool.
yeah, there's some pretty great like fan art online of just
Of him becoming, oh god, what's his name?
Cthulhu.
No, the illithid.
Clarota?
Clarota.
Clarota.
Yes.
Clarence.
Clarence.
It's a
Yep.
self-fulfilling prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
Because we can't trust Caleb either.
Can't trust any of them.
You're right.
Yeah. You can't. This is not a trustworthy bunch.
Nope. It's a shady bunch.
Yeah.
Got it.
Oh no. We have lots of descriptions of seaweed. We have them debating whether this is a trap. And they start some various different sort of creepy shadows and forms start to be described, and Travis starts freaking out.
That is because it's first it's the man, right? Like there's a figure that moves by and like goes into the wall, and Travis is like chills going through him.
The best part of the episode, and like doing a rewatch, just watch Travis the entire time.
Anytime something like creepy is mentioned, anytime there's like
Oh, and it doesn't even have to be
shadow.
creepy. Anytime anything happens throughout this episode, he's like, "Ugh."
Yeah, I have about 7 times annotated where Travis freaks in quotes,
Freaks out.
and
so
then
much.
and then in parentheses, not forward, because it's
Yeah.
just Travis.
yeah.
Just
That-
Travis.
That has to be very clearly stated that it was very much Travis who is very not into horror and like
He got up and walked
Yeah,
away.
which
He was
was-
like, nope.
Which was one of the questions submitted by No Name. Is Ford actually afraid of ghosts, or was that Travis, considering Ford can create a specter as a hex blade? That was 100% Travis Willingham.
Travis.
Which I
Bring him
didn't
into-
know, and it makes me...
Bring him into a haunted house. He's gonna
Yeah.
punch somebody.
Yeah. I would like to go to a haunted house with the Willinghams.
oh god. It's funny because Laura would be like
Well, Shay apparently does that kind of stuff to him. Like, she gets out of the shower with her hair hanging down in front of her face, like the girl from the rain, and just like scares the shit
And
out.
that's why she brought it up, and he's like, don't put that evil out there!
yeah.
Oh.
Don't even bring that up for it to come out.
Yeah, and it like ended up happening, which is great.
Yep.
Yeah. Don't
Yep.
make it the ring girl.
Yep. So we have from that moment they start seeing the shadows and things, so we have Caduceus start sensing the dead, and this time, unlike the first time, he is starting to get some danger blips on his death map.
Ghost Star.
Nice.
Nice.
I was
And this is
gonna
the first.
say Guldar, but that's from Power Rangers.
Goldar. Yeah.
we have-
Gouldar.
Ghoul,
Gouldar.
Ghoul Star.
No.
Well,
That's
Guldar.
what happens
A ghoul
That's what you
radar.
know when the ghouls break down. You call Ghoul Star.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking. But we have the first moment of Ford is the first one to get a nice little gentle chill on the back of his neck.
The brain
Which-
freeze.
A little tickle back there, which is so perfect because Travis is clearly the one freaking out. I'm pretty sure he yells at Matt. But we learn later that he's being ensorcelled, guys, because
my
Matt Mercer just wanted to bring that word out for us.
Yeah, he's such a Final Fantasy anime. Like everything has to be shouted out, like ensorcel.
But then we have in this moment a ghost tries to take over Bo, and Caduceus is just fuck off, ghost.
Yeah. At first I was like, it's kind of metagamey feel, but then I was like, no, he's already saw that there's a ghost. He's a cleric. He's prepped. He doesn't like undead. He's
Yeah,
like, talking
he's
to
literally
ghosts.
sensing it.
He's ready.
was
He's just
sensing
like,
it and,
had his finger like on the grenade pin, just like, I'm gonna pull it. I'm gonna pull it.
Matt and I were of the same mind with all of this,
Yes.
so.
Mhm.
Where it's like, okay, so these ghosts didn't really do anything. Yes, so this one ghost possesses Bo,
Yeah.
but none of the other ghosts really did anything.
And we found out
So-
there's like 12 following them.
Like 12 or 15 of them, right? So were these ghosts maybe trying to like communicate something to them? And we're like, hey, kind of, if you save us, or this is how you save us, or here's this thing that's hidden that you're not going to find otherwise. And they just like went around punching ghosts.
Yeah, the second
And
watch through is when I thought that, because I was like, the ghost is gonna possess her and be like, hey, this is what happened. This lady here is like killing us and using our blood to do a thing. Maybe save us. Maybe release our souls. We're here to help.
Right. And they just punched them.
Yeah, like avenge us. Yes, Chinsara gets it.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like, oh yeah, fuck you, ghosts.
It could have been.
We don't know. They could have been good ghosts.
Yeah, not all ghosts are bad. There's a hashtag in there somewhere.
I hadn't thought of that. When you two brought that up, I honestly hadn't thought. But it makes sense because there's, like you said, there's so many shipwrecks there. There's so many, like, we know from the end of the episode that she was Bermuda Triangling a bunch of ships and brought them all down. So it's not.
And I thought that too the first time I watched it because of what Travis caught on to, of like, these things are going to possess us and then pull us into the wall, which we know now the wall latches out and like deals damage to people and like kills them. So, like, which side?
I like that he was looking to see if he knew any of the ghosts.
That was fun.
Like, you could see a moment where both Travis and Marisha were like, oh shit, wait! Are these my former crew members?
Yeah. But Caduceus just goes, fuck off, ghosts! And then that wasn't cool. I think he says, like, that wasn't cool or something like that. That wasn't... Not cool, man. That's what he says.
Yeah.
Not cool, man, which is like so great. But yeah, I hadn't thought of that, and I think it's one of those things now that we'll never get to know.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It's one of those things that you guys might have been right, but we'll never know.
This is one of those like Matt Mercer end of campaign round tables. Like, when we fight those ghosts, would they have helped us?
68 episodes ago when this happened.
I don't know. I think the ghosts are nice.
I don't know. I think there's a chance they could have been nice, or they, if at least not nice, could have been beneficial in some way to actually have communicated with them, as opposed to just telling them to fuck off in various ways of word and fist.
Word and fist. Speaking of which, after that moment, Yasha shoulder checks the seaweed.
And
which is actual...
Caleb got stuck before.
He got.
Yep.
He got.
And as they Yasha shoulder checks the seaweed. They get into the room despite some wiggly piggly grabby wabby. And they see spiral ruins in this room, which of course is exciting to Caleb. And they're sort of described as arcane glyphs, and he can tell that they're pre-calamity, that they are some sort of conjuration, and he can feel that they are elemental in nature, which all makes sense later on.
Yeah.
I can Kate your face. For anyone who's listening to the podcast, you are missing an excellent face right now. Kate is not impressed.
Dumb fuck.
And Caleb can tell that a physical material of some sort is needed.
Yeah, all of that just...
What did they think was going to happen? What did they think?
First off, I love that Matt is differentiating between, like, runes and glyphs and, like, words. So you can't just, like, I cast, this, and I read everything.
Right.
Yeah. So that's fun, because, like...
Not language.
He's limiting the information that Liam can get now, which is, like, fun, because Liam has made such a, like, OP, like, I'm gonna learn everything and remember everything, and there's no secrets you can hide. So it's great that, like, all he got, and like Matt kind of gave them the red herring of like, so you kind of recognize some elements from when you've cast fire magic and when you've used earth magic, not when you've summoned a tempest. Because he's like, this is magic that you've never done before. Because has Caleb done any sort of water spell?
No, but I think like Matt brought it back to like elemental, so like the fire and stuff like that, and this would be like storm, lightning, water. Which is still elemental, I guess you could argue. So, yeah, Caleb is interested in that. Caleb now gets to be the one that gets the exciting, like, cold brush tickle on the back of his neck. So we know he's also been ensorcelled.
Jester had gotten it as well, and Bo?
And Bo got it as well.
Bo did not get it. Bo only got possessed.
Oh, but no, because Bo, while they were fighting... Oh, no, I'm thinking...
Yeah, I thought that too. I had to go back and like, wait, didn't Bo get it too?
Nope, you're right. Bo, a friendly ghost attempted to possess Bo to tell her their story, but unfortunately, that was canceled out. They get to pay attention, see a little closer, get a little bit better perspective, and notice that the floor is bones, and
Not lava, but bones.
the floor is bones, guys.
That is word for word my note as well. The floor is bones.
The floor is bones. And the object they want is over by the throne. And Jester, just for fun, looks over her shoulder and says, like, "Oh, do I see any ghosts? Oh, yes, they're just waiting 15 feet behind you. They're just like
They're
gently
just
floating,"
there.
which plays into what you guys have said, where they're just like gently waiting. They're not doing any harm. They're just like, "We're here if you guys want to hear our story, guys.
Like,
we have a story to tell you."
Like, you know, like, come on, you got like the army of the dead at your side. Like, do something.
Yeah, and you have multiple clerics that can get rid of it if somebody does get possessed. So test it out. Literally test the waters.
Just
Have
but
fun. What's the worst that could
no.
happen?
No, it's funny because on one hand we like scold them for the other dumb shit they do, but meanwhile we're like, just try a possession. Just try it once. Like, have you ever been possessed? You don't know. Might be okay.
Yeah.
Might be a fun time, guys.
Don't do that dumb shit. Do this dumb shit.
Exactly. Also, I like the whole imagery that Matt gave us of this room with saying like, oh, there's clearly piles of coins stacked up over here, and over here there's silverware, and over here there's like weapons and things and tools stuck in the walls, and then there's this throne, and he's like, it's like a really ghastly kind of Ariel's grotto. And when he started discussing it, like describing it, that was exactly the image that popped in my head, was this Little Mermaid's grotto full of just stuff, which I thought was a really cool thing, as opposed to just being this creepy ass room with creepy ass seaweed, kelp things.
Mm-hmm.
It's just fun, and like then it's a fun episode. The whole build up and how everybody's getting spooked, because this was a ghost story that they've entered into, and like the whole time they're like, oh, this is her lair, this is the nest, and
yes, shiny things.
Yep. And speaking of her lair, her nest, Caduceus sees a figure that just happens to have skitter climbed halfway up the wall, and the wall is surrounded in seaweed, and the way like, oh, I love that Matt is taking this moment to describe it, and Travis is freaking the fuck out, but Matt makes sure to keep describing this creepy, you know what I mean?
And you see like one yellow eye covered by the hair, and then half shut eye with yellow gleaming through.
Wonderful. And the fun. Wall skitters, though. That's always
that's what it got me.
The fun imagery.
I like, part of me knew that was gonna happen, but I didn't want it to happen. And then he's like, she skitters along the wall, and everyone's like, no.
I like the I can't say the word because it's like Nemo. The anemone. Where it's like she's not affected by the seaweed.
Yes,
like help. It almost so like an anemone thing.
Yep. Like the other fish and things that live in the anemone, and they get used to it. So
the anemone of my enemy is my fiend.
Oh no,
boom,
Matt!
I got
it. That's so good. Thank you.
Oh, I'm getting booed.
Chad is booing you. Sorry.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, and that's the moment after freaking out, after Matt gets to do his description, that we have initiative.
And we get like we get a fun
Pokemon music plays.
And it's a tentacruel. Yeah, no, this was a real interesting fight, because it felt really one-sided going in that it's 1v, how many are there? 8? 6? 7? 7? There's 7.
Yeah. But we know that she's in her lair. We know that, like...
Well, that's the thing. Like, sea hags in the book don't really have a lair. And Matt confirmed on Twitter that this was another Matt Mercer special. It's a sea fury.
I love it.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. That's awesome.
So she, like... Because somebody was like, there's nothing in the book that has all this stuff that you're doing. And he's like, it's not a dragon. It's a sea fury. It's, my thing. I made it. Homebrew.
That makes so much sense, though. It's literally like it's a character he's built
So-
for his world with this
Yeah.
special,
And-
like, with lore and everything. Like,
Because of me, being me, in Greek mythology, the Furies, or the Aeneas, are chthonic goddesses of vengeance. So that's pretty cool if you're putting it in the context
Mhm.
of this drowned hag. Like,
Mhm.
she's bringing ships
she's
down.
bringing ships. She's doing what she do because what happened to her.
They were probably personified like curses and things like that. So it's a cool thing that he decided to kind of lean on the Fury as opposed to like a straight old hag, which I
Mhm.
just personally like to geek out about because that's me.
no, legitimately, it's so good. I love when Matt takes things and like twists them around and stuff like that. I think it's so perfect. Like, so much of the world is already his own. It makes sense for him to have like, and he's so like, it's so lore rich. It's so like, this is something that Matt has built around his characters. You know what I mean? Like, to have this like background, this lore, this part of this story that's ongoing in this world. You know, like Orly, when they mentioned the diver's grave, Orly was like, oh
Yeah,
no,
it's like,
that
oh,
place.
yeah, there.
You know what
no
I mean?
thanks.
It's a known place. Like, it's an important thing, and it makes perfect sense that like Matt would homebrew this perfect like
Ghost
evil
story. Like have an
Yes!
actual villain behind it.
Yes.
And then first round of combat, everyone's kind of doing defensive things to get ready, and
Yes.
then that's when we learn about what is it, forced division, and because she and then like the Sea Fury version of the hag's appearance, because like if you see the hag for the first time, you're frightened. Well, this time he like had the spirits rise up through the ground, and like everyone that
Yes.
saw them was afraid.
What was that called? He called, like, because that was a lair action, wasn't he? He called that like the Dead Lament or something like that.
Yeah, I think I didn't catch that one. I was
I literally wrote it in our chat, and I didn't write it in my own notes.
yeah, like
'cause-
Lament of the Dead, the Dead's Lament.
The Lament of the Dead,
Something,
or something like
very
that.
anime.
Yeah.
The Lament of the Dead.
Yeah, and then all the ensorceling, which was all the back of the head tickles, was like you said, it was forced division. So she was able
Yeah.
to sort of like force them to fight themselves.
Yeah,
They
force them
sort
to
of-
see a vision of
Yeah.
the Sea Fury, and like they have to act upon it. So like you had Ford move somewhere because he saw her over there, so he ran over there. And then like later on, Caleb looked like the hag, so he ran up and slashed him, and just a fun little mechanic that makes a 1v7 battle like favor the enemy.
Loved it.
It was so good.
And also, and I have a note as well, like that he made the actual lair a combatant, so they couldn't stay hugging the wall. So everybody that tries to like run and not be in melee range had to figure something else out.
Yes. So like, cause Caduceus at one point says like, I want to hug a wall, but a wall with no seaweed on it, and Matt's like, no, there's no walls without seaweed on them. Like, either you're going in there and getting that nice kelpy burn, or you're out in the open, which is so great. It's so much fun, and like you said, it turned it from like one. And the problem with having like one person versus like a full team of 7 is that like they have so much time to do so many hits on that one person, unless you have like all those legendary actions, lair actions. Like, it makes such a difference. But we got to see some really cool stuff. We got to see Jester call her seahorse unicorns, which Kate was one of your favorites.
So much. I want one.
Jester also had the amazing moment of calling up her spiritual weapon at 4th level for the first time. And
I was expecting the lollipop to be like more like sweet and have like lollipops and more stuff coming off it, but she's like, no, it's a giant lollipop with blades.
Well, the one time she had like spikes coming out of it.
That's
when
true.
she can.
Yeah. Lament of the Dead. There you go. I did have it written. Dang it. And then we have Caleb and Yasha get frightened, but we find out for the first time that Not can't be frightened while drunk. And I was like, oh my god, all this time we've been seeing her like drink and have like other effects of it, but it was the first time that like she's like, I can't be frightened, I'm too fucking drunk. Like,
Not becomes not the brave when she's drunk.
Yes, and I can't believe it took us 44 episodes to see that moment, because one of the very first things we ever saw when we saw Not for the first time was her like breakfast drinking. It was like her getting her drink on.
Or
and it's so
getting
funny.
drunk to go into the mine shaft full of gnolls.
So that was so freaking cool. I really, really love that. And I'm wondering, is there anything else we haven't seen from that yet? I assume that would be the main thing, but
I like how our little comment by Disney by Nature. How can you find me when I don't even know where I am?
And then after like fighting happens, we have Dashilla tries to run.
Well, first we have her her gaze that completely takes Caleb out first round.
Yes. Oh my god, yeah.
Oh, so good.
Where'd that go? Oh, Dashilla drops Caleb to 0 hit points. I missed that. Sorry. Yeah, I did have that note.
And, like, everyone else is just getting fear, but then... And I think she targeted Caleb because he was the one that was, like, inspecting her disc. Like, her blood disc of tempest control or whatever.
Feared, right?
Mm-hmm.
He might have been?
Fear. So that's what I wonder if it was, like, a combo where, like, she could only do that to someone who was feared.
Well, that could be it, too.
But
yeah, she
I
goes up
and see what that spell was, unfortunately.
And my thought for what Dashilla, the Tread or whatever she's called, was that it was some sort of anglerfish thing. And then Matt described her anglerfish mount, and I was like, yes, I was almost right.
Yes.
Her big, like, gaping maw and teeth, her toothy maw.
Yeah, those like tiny, sharp, pointy teeth. Like, you know what I mean? Those like
big, sharp, pointy teeth.
Those kind that are so like weird and creepy and awesome. But
And then Caleb's out. And...
So I was wondering, is that something that a sea hag normally has? Because that seemed like the ghoul thing. Like a ghoul can do that to you, right? A ghoul can like shout at you and drop you to 0.
Let's pull out the old monster manual.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
No, I should already had it out like a professional.
Well, and I'm wondering if it's like, I mean, we already know it was a Matt homebrew, a Matt add-on adjustment, whatever you want to call it.
Death Glare. The hag targets.
Oh, they do have that.
Yeah, targets one frightened creature. Blah blah blah. Make a DC check, or they drop to 0 hit points.
Yes, but they have to be feared in order to.
So one has to lead to the other.
Oh yep. Her cat in chat.
Yeah.
While you were doing it. I think Gil corrected me. It's Banshee. Thank you, Gil. I don't know why I said ghoul. It was Banshee. Banshees can do that shriek at you and just take you down.
A whole party, not just one person.
I know. I was trying not to say that because we had that happen in our campaign.
Listen, my plan would have worked. I'm still salty. Let's move on.
Nope. Anyways, moving on. Dashilla runs. Caduceus chases. I think also Knot and Bo kind of do a little bit of like running after. But in the meantime, Ford finds the sphere, gets pointed in the right direction, finds the sphere, asks if it's safe for him to sort of investigate it yet, and Matt gives him the clarification that Dashilla has like fled for now. She's nowhere near you. You could tell that she was like
GTFO.
Not doing good, and she would have like left to try and resolve that. So that's when Ford gets to concentrate on his new sparkle ball, and he gets some super exciting visions. He sees the very dark, the deep ocean darkness, and then he sees eyes and teeth and sort of a different version of what we've seen before. You guys were talking on this a little bit, right? You guys...
That was like a really creepy-ass Cheshire cat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was sort of how you...
Well, because all the other visions, we just get the one big eye, but this time we get like one big eye and then two next to it, and then a big grin.
But it almost seemed like he was describing like the Dashalla grin again, like the anglerfish almost.
A little bit.
I got the same kind of.
I kind of
feel
got
from that.
the frog behemoth thingy, the frogaloth or something in Xanath or Volos. That's like a giant frog with 3 eyes at the top. I don't know.
He is a giant frog god.
Well, I mean, in that temple, there were all the different versions of creatures, so gosh, who even knows? Froghemoth! Thank you.
That's what it is.
I never went in chat.
I'm fully invested in just this story now. Like, I want to know. I want them to fight gods now.
I want to go back.
I don't want to wait 3 years.
We're skipping right to the end, guys.
Get the war.
Just everybody find somebody, bunk up. That's how you level up. We know how it goes.
We know how it goes.
Level
That's
20,
how you level.
Level 20, fight a god and take Orly with you.
Take Orly with you. No, Orly. Why?
Is crucial. Everybody get
Oily.
tattoos.
Don't hurt Oily.
Um,
So we get this vision. The orb gets absorbed, and now there is an eye in the falchion's hilt and the pommel.
How do you feel about that, Jess?
I have opinions on other things. Don't worry, I have opinions.
So let's go. We've kind of missed some questions from our forums that we put out. One of them, how does everyone feel about the Mighty Nine leaving Deshala behind to remain a scourge upon the sea? I love it.
I love it.
It's like, I would have been pretty angry if this like group of chucklefucks was able to like destroy a ghost story.
A legend.
Yeah, like that would have just like, no, it can't happen. It can't. Because apparently on Twitter, Matt said that she was sitting at 3 hit points when she ran. And had they done math right, she would have died. But like somebody forgot some modifier, and it's a thing that's not going to be retconned. She lived, and I love it because I would have been sad if like they killed a legend, like a sea shanty. She has a shanty. You can't kill her.
All sea monsters must live. It's a rule.
It's a rule.
I'm not biased at all.
Let's see. I think that was kind of the main one. No, there's some
Any
others.
other questions?
There are some once we get to the end after what happens at the end of the fight.
Okay, so after this happens with Ford, after he gets his new eyeball, he mentions that he still wants to chase after Dashilla and kill her. But Jester's like, nah, bruh, it's cool. Let's just get all this look at all this shiny stuff, bro. Let's get this. But in the meantime, Bo is still chasing. It's basically just Bo and not still chasing at this point, because even Caduceus has like decided to call off the chase. And at this point, Bo punches a ghost. Just a friendly ghost, Bo. What was it even doing?
There.
He just standing there.
Was it? But it's a really good moment though, because she kind of just freaks out and goes like, "Oh, fuck a ghost punch!" Like,
And then leaves 3 holes in the ghost, and the ghost goes, ooh.
And like doesn't die from it, and so Caduceus is like, okay, we're doing this. And then like Sacred Flame, and it's still
Didn't
there.
attack back.
Didn't attack.
Didn't do anything. Didn't do a damn thing. He was just standing there.
But it's funny though, because it calls back to an old episode where she's like, I can punch a ghost when she gets her magic fists, and
Yep.
yeah.
And like Caduceus is like, I've never met a ghost I haven't wanted to punch or something like that. I don't remember the exact quote.
Yep. So Bo finally gets to punch a ghost, which I mean, that's great that she's gotten to do it.
On
But
brand.
you don't know that these weren't friendly ghosts.
I'm sold that they are friendly, and we'll never know.
It's like that poor NPC that Matt wrote like pages on, and then Vax just slaughtered in 1 hit, and you're like, well, there you go. You don't know nothing about him.
Yep. So yeah, and then back in the room, here's where I got opinions.
Oh, do you?
So basically, Caleb's still looking at the runes and stuff, and Ford goes over and like fucking that tone in his voice. He's just egging Caleb on, like, aren't you curious? Aren't you curious? Like, of course you know this guy's curious. Why are you pushing these buttons?
Oh, and he confirms it. He's like, yeah, I'm always curious, but I've kind of learned maybe not to do all the things I'm curious about.
And Caleb is smart about it, and he specifically says, like, I want to know what you're intending from this. Like, he is checking in with, like, Ford, like, wanting to know, like, what his end game is. It's kind of sort of suspicious himself, it seems. And
this is like one of the first times that they're quasi alone in the heat of the moment, where like maybe everybody's guards aren't completely up and they're willing to say things.
And so he says, aren't you curious what a little drippy drip might do? Because they know, they're discussing it, they know it needs blood. There's no qualms about this. There's no like, oh, maybe we can just like do some other nice innocent things. No, they know it needs blood. And so what do? Caleb says, like, can I count on you to return a favor? Like, already like getting Ford to promise to help in the future. Like, wait a second, Caleb, what do you want done at this point?
It's so reminiscent to like one of those Survivor or Big Brother shows where it's like, all right, the others, let's form an alliance and we're gonna fuck them over when this happens. Once we get to the challenge, we're gonna vote, Bo off the island or whatever.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Nancy.
But yeah, Ford confirms like he'll always help him, and Caleb, as soon as the word "always" comes out of Ford's mouth, Caleb pulls a knife, slits his hand open, puts his palm down, bleeding onto the counter. Like, oh my god! Like, what?
At first I was like, does he even have a knife? Or did he just do it with his fingernail? Like, what did he do? Did he like just rub his hand so raw?
Well, I think as like a wizard full of like components and
he
things like that, I think he would definitely have something handy, and he
got that out real quick.
It was so immediate. It was so like, I have shit I want to do. Are you gonna help me? Yes. Fuck. Okay, we're doing this.
That training from Trent paid off, huh?
Oh,
get people on your time.
Shit is happening right here.
But then, like, so he slams his hand and like a glyph glows on the wall.
Yep.
And
yep.
He's like, we need more blood, and then Ford's like, yeah, we're in on it. And
yep.
Like,
yep.
And then the little line from Matt is like, how much hit points are you willing to give up for this?
Exactly.
He says you can tell you need a lot. Like, he says a lot of blood.
Well, yeah,
he says how much damage are you willing to take?
Bodies on the ground.
Yes.
Like, you found sacrificed bodies. That kind of signifies you need a lot of blood.
Yeah, and Matt's describing how the blood is like going through the water and just like being absorbed, like it's basically like magnetically pulled almost.
Ford does 20 points of damage, self-inflicted. That he like mutilated his hand.
Yeah. Like to imagine like 20 points on your hand. I feel like you would have to remove your hand.
You
like
would have
that's
lost
a lot.
fingers. Like...
That's a lot of damage. And so yeah, like Caleb says he'll do an additional 9 to what he's already just done. Travis says he'll do 20. And Jester freaks out and starts cure wounds.
Yeah, because I think she's just like, oh, gold, ooh, platinum. Oh, what the fuck are you doing?
yeah. Like, literally, exactly. She's like, oh, pretty sparkly. Like, what the fuck is happening?
I turned to loot this sea witch for 2 seconds and you start cutting your own hands.
Such dumb boys.
Right.
Such dumb boys.
There was a quote earlier that y'all keep talking I'm going to find in our chat.
Okay. Well, so they pause at this moment because Matt is willing to like tell them.
You're at 2/3.
Yes, based on how much is lit up, you're at about 2/3 with all the damage you've done. And so Caleb turns to Ford and is like, "Hey, I'm following your lead. This is your thing, but I have things I want to do, and I need your help." Like, what? Wait, Caleb, what are you asking Ford to commit to right now? That's like worse than.
He just wants a friend.
He just wants to break into the Solstice Academy, destroy Trent.
No.
Yeah.
This is so much evil shit, guys. Don't go telling me that they don't have some sort of evil aspects to them, because Ford and Caleb in this moment are so openly evil.
Yeah. The two evil masterminds are like, hey, let's start a club. Which brings us to one of the questions in our chat. When do we think Caleb will call on his favor with Ford, and what do you think he will ask Ford to do for him? That's from Lady Purple.
Kill Trent.
Yeah, either kill Trent or
breaking into the Solstice Academy, and they are going to destroy and slaughter Trent.
See,
like, there will be torture. There will be torture involved with it. It's not just straight up, we're going to go kill him. We are going to find him, make his life hell, and then kill him.
If you had said just kill, I would have like disagreed, but when you start bringing up like a full-on torture, I could see them wanting to like burn down the academy. I could see him wanting to like
doing the full Lady Briarwood.
I will burn the world. Wanting to like break it all out.
Because he's also trying to like rewrite time or something with time. We're still not 100% on that.
Like, there's something in there, like, he wants. There is something Caleb is after. We don't know what it is, but there is something he is after, messing with all this weird time shit or something that he was talking about.
Ooh. Shinskar in chat said he's gonna go full Raceland and break time. Yes, he has Liam has fully said numerous times that Raceland is one of his favorite characters, and Raceland is evil as heck, guys.
But after they've made this pact, they stop playing with their new toy, and they like do the whole Blood Brothers handshake with open wounds.
Oh yeah, they do a creepy Blood Brothers handshake.
They need to get that sanitized ASAP.
I mean, they're under salt water.
Okay,
salt water. It's not too bad.
Yeah, that makes sense.
cure wounds in there.
Yeah.
The cure wounds are salt water. When they get back to the boat, they could do a little bit of cleansing. So yeah, at this moment, Caduceus water walks them back up to the top, which
Like a
thankfully,
badass.
Awesome.
thankfully, Matt clarifies that due to magic, there will be no decompression sickness, because dear God, that would have been horrible.
You survived Shala only to die of the bends. Sorry about
Oh my
that.
God, it would have been so bad. But thankfully, that is resolved. They get back to the boat. Ford immediately says they're gonna make for, I think it's Gravid's archipelago, which is clarified later that they're actually going to Basift Isle because
So
they need to fix the ship.
Yeah.
Right.
So I guess they want to go to the archipelago eventually, but they still got to fix their ship because they are still, as Matt describes, limping along.
And as
And
they're
then it
limping
almost got
along-
worse.
As they're limping, they see the sky turn black where they just were, and it's like, just apparently whatever ritual you started to see how, decided to finish.
Yerp.
And they kind of just like have that look at each other like, did we just almost fuck up our ship?
Yeah.
Yup.
Again?
Yup. You almost sunk your whole ship, bros.
Which
You
is
Because
almost-
you wanted to play with the dark and evil altar.
Yep. So basically, they see what has been happening. Why the legend exists, basically. Why all those ships are down there. In case you're curious, question answered. Hope you're happy.
Which is what my favorite quote was from tonight from FMA 425, 2 idiots bleeding over a weather machine.
That's a good one.
So a couple of the questions that we did skip over, or didn't
Yeah,
really
let's do
get to. What is the next strange magical artifact that the Disaster Twins will mess with next? That is from Adam Pearson, who was one of our hosts last week.
Oh, thanks,
God.
Adam.
Anything they can get their hands on, they're just
Yeah.
gonna fuck with it.
For real.
They're gonna start messing with that little orb that they have, the ball of motes. They're
Yeah.
gonna do something with it. They're gonna just
Yeah,
start
like, what
fucking-
can we do?
Like, let's take this apart and see what happens.
Hi, I'm Ford, and welcome to Jackass.
Well, because Ford keeps being like, oh, I don't want power. I don't want stuff. And then, like,
You lying
Every
bastard.
action,
Like,
every
it's-
single thing he does is completely opposite of what he says.
Yep, and that's exactly what I mean when I say even when they finished fighting Deshella, and he turns to Caleb and puts it on Caleb to be like, "Aren't you curious? Don't you want to do this evil thing?" Ford appears so sweet and innocent, and
He's
yet he
devil's
is
advocate.
always causing all this shit through. Like he's always putting it off on someone else.
Charismatic motherfucker.
Ukito advocate. Which kind of goes to my thing.
Yes.
So Avantika was very much the same way, which kind of led me to like my thought process of Vandrin, that Vandrin was with Avantika first and kind of like brought her into the whole Ukito nonsense. And then he saw that either he saw that she was going way too hardcore with it, or he knew that like he had done enough and that she was going to go off on her own and figure it out. And then he found new pupils in Sabian and Ford and started like, filling them in and like, come on, get into the thing. And my thought is that Sabian thought that Vandrin was unworthy of Ukitoa's like blessing, and that's why he destroyed the ship, trying to kill Vandrin and Ford.
And then became Ford.
Well, maybe, we don't know, but like the same training that Avantika got, Ford got, because Ford's like, I'm gonna egg these people on, and I'm still gonna get my way, and like we're gonna make them think they're doing it, but it's really for me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I have a question, and you can tell me if it's one of the questions that were given. If not, then we need to answer it anyway. At the very, very end, Caleb pulls out another book, very specifically, not his book that is always visible, not his book he always openly uses, a second book that he doesn't normally share, and sits down and writes in it for hours, alone in a room.
Tom
He
Riddle.
does have two books.
Tom Riddle's diary. He's talking to Trent.
I believe
He is still working for Trent, like fully.
And it's literally like, I have another one for Team Trent. Like his name's Ford, and we're gonna come to the Socialist Academy, and you're gonna brainwash him. Just tell me that you
One
know about
is his
Ukitoa.
magic book. One is his magic book. The other one's his diary.
He's writing Vox Machina fan fiction. Yes,
Okay,
Yes.
there we go. That explains it. That totally.
he wrote
But
down
it's
the
it was
magic
so-
from the Storm Machine.
That's
Possible.
not unreasonable. That's very
The glyphs
possible.
that he remembered.
Yeah, that actually makes sense. It's just, to me, there's like an extreme connection between him and Ford having that like dark sacrificial moment, agreeing to like dark deeds in the future, and then him going off alone and like writing this book, and it just makes me very suspicious.
Yeah, I'm
were there
thinking
any-
about all these. Maybe Caleb wants to learn to control the weather. He is trying to learn to control something. So that makes it, because it's all pre-calamity magic that he's been fighting recently, and he has to. And Dizzy by Nature also has it. He wrote down the last month because he can't remember past 30 days. So he's trying to write down everything that he's remembered, or because he's approaching that time to forget.
Yeah. Were there any other questions, or did you hit them all?
Let's see. Does Ford want to unlock the Leviathan or not? Does he retrieve the Eye of Antika placed in the temple, then consume and relock the Leviathan, giving him 3 eyes? These are the thoughts that fill my headspace. What do you think? And
I think that Ford wants so much more power than he claims. Sorry, who sent that?
That's actually from Dizzy by Nature.
Oh, thanks, Dizzy! Thank you.
Yeah.
I think he just wants the power. I don't think he cares about who it comes from at all. He just wants it.
He will figure out. If I think he'll put the other 2 orbs in first, and then if it turns out he needs to go back and redo the 3rd, he will.
Yeah, I think
because at the end, and another one. So where is it?
Because I don't think he's fanatical in the way that Avantika was, where he wants to serve this elder god.
Right.
I think he just wants all the power for himself, and he doesn't necessarily want to deal with like that, but he wants as much of it for himself as possible.
Yeah.
As much as he claims to be like a sweet, polite little boy that's like just hanging out, just helping his friends. Yeah, sure.
And so this one's from No Name. Okay, Fordcast. What the heck was going on with Ford and the drive to test out that creepy blood sacrifice pedestal? At the end of the episode, Ford kind of explained, or not Ford, Travis kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing. I was just told to provoke. And so that's what he's doing. He's acting on just provoking things.
Sure.
That's fine, and it's fine, but
it's one of those things like, I don't like what the character's doing, but that's what he would do.
Sure. And that's fine, but like, and that's a legitimate thing with like RP and stuff like that. That's totally fine and cool, but I just can't wait for the day when Travis reveals his long game that has been going on this whole time, that he fully is like I said, acting all innocent, acting like that sweet boy with that nice polite Texas boy accent. He's such a nice guy. No, fuck you. You're up to some evil ass shit, bro. Like, I just can't wait for him. I just cannot wait for Travis to get to like to be open about that and just have a good laugh. A good laugh.
It's gonna be insane.
Alright, we're almost through. We got 2 more. So was Sabian's sabotage of the Tide's Breath due to Dashilla using her forced division, or do we think there's still more going on there?
Say that again? I missed the first part.
It was Sabian's sabotage of the Tide's Breath Ford ship due to Dashilla using her forced division, or do we think there's more going on there? I don't know what
going on.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on there.
I think there's more going on.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's. Go ahead. Sorry.
There might be some sort of connection. So I think Vandrew knew.
Like, why was he in that area?
I don't know if Vandrew was going for a second orb at that point, and he already had the other one, and that's why they were there. And that Sabian decided, oh hey, this is a good time to maybe get one or both of the orbs.
Mm-hmm.
So there might be a connection in that form, but
I mean,
I don't think it was.
He dove into the sea during the sea storm. I think he is somehow in league with the Marrow or something that can help him breathe underwater, so that he wouldn't die in an explosion, B, a big sea storm.
And then he washed up on shore and found the sword and started calling himself Ford.
Oh my god. That's an interesting theory. I like it. The more I think about it, I'm like, no, it's got to be 2 different people, because the timelines don't match up of when.
I was gonna say I don't think the timelines match up. I think just based on them talking to people, like
eyewitness accounts are not very credible.
Especially with magic. Everybody's anybody.
That's fine.
Eyewitness accounts are not credible, you guys.
Last
Okay,
one,
okay.
which is completely like out of left field from King
Do
Sundu. In light of Pumat Sol Week, how likely do you think that Pumat Sol reported to the Cerberus Assembly of the Mighty Nine's purchases, and therefore how likely would Trent be able to deduce his old apprentice as has resurfaced?
I don't think so.
Well, and Jess had noticed it earlier that Sundu had you kind of like mixed two things together.
Yeah. Because it says Cerberus Academy, and it's the Cerberus Assembly and the Solstice Academy. So, Pumat Sol reports to the Cerberus Assembly, and Trent works at the Solstice Academy. Sorry, so I'm doing things with my hands right now.
Wax on, wax off.
Yep, I'm doing a full-on, like, this versus that. So, that being said, I don't think that Pumat has to report to Trent at all. And even that being said, I don't think Pumat, goes to the Cerberus Assembly with like, oh, here's who came to my store and bought stuff. I think if they come and they call on him and they ask him stuff, he answers honestly. But I don't think he would go running to them with that info, just personally.
I agree.
Yeah, I think Pumat's there just for his own like research. He doesn't care what's going on.
Pumat's the big
The
bad
invulnerable
evil.
vagrant. He's just there.
Yeah, I think he has no interest in politics. He just wants to get to do fun magic stuff.
He's the big bad.
He's the
Oh, that would be such an evil long game. Oh
He's
my god.
Tony Stark's father, whose name I forget. He's just there as a scientist making things.
Sorry.
The last thing is there will be a guest on the next Critical Role.
More girls at the table.
Yeah, Deborah
And they've
Ann
been
Woll.
wanting to get her. They've been wanting to get her for so long. They fully said it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3 years in the making, and yeah,
I'm so excited.
that's gonna be fun because she's been great in every like RPG show she's appeared on,
I'm
from Force
curious
Grey
as much-
to
I'm
Too
very
Many
curious.
Eyes.
Yeah, on the stream of Too Many Eyes, she ran a game, and it was so good. It was so good, and that was her first time on stream like GMing, right? And it
Mhm.
was so good. Like, I can't wait. I can't wait
What's
to
she gonna
see
play?
her.
What's she gonna play? They're going to like
Ooh.
little.
They're going to,
island
like,
full
mini-
of-
Pirate Town.
Yeah, they're going to like. What are they like? Supply Land. They're going to Fantasy Costco on an island.
Fantasy Costco. Sorry. But yeah, do you think she's gonna play like a very basic-ish humanoid, or do you think she's gonna? Oh, yep. So FMA in chat has pointed out that her character for Force Grey was Jamala the Barbarian, but I don't think she would replay anything she's already played. I think she would play something new.
Yeah, I don't
Personally.
think she'd do the Joe Manganiello thing of just playing the one character in every game you're in.
David has pointed out something. Are they gonna level up again? Because
Yes.
if Deborah comes on with a even remotely attractive female character, are they going to? Is Bo gonna put another guest character notch in her belt? Good point. Level up for sure. One can only hope.
Who knows?
But I hope so. I hope so.
Anyway, is there anything that we missed on this episode? Anything anybody wants to talk about?
I'm good. Does anyone have anything else?
I'm curious to see what arc they kind of go with next, because we've now done a big Ford thing. Are they gonna go switch
ooh.
gears to something else?
Are they gonna
The
focus?
Traveler!
There's the
Okay,
there's
what?
the big Traveler thing that's happening. Big
Traveler
But
Con!
that's
Traveler
not-
Con!
But that's not for like a year.
Right, but
Oh, I thought it was
the other thing is the big looming war that's still happening.
Right. We're trying
Yeah.
to find out what's going on with the war in Jorhas. Like, I just want a little taste of what's going on. Maybe some
Mhm.
information.
I want to know about the Kreen Empire more. I want to know more about Yasha, if Ashley's
Yeah.
ever coming back.
No, I do actually want all of that
at
stuff.
least kill Patterson, but give her a good ending.
But I want a little bit more Bo. I want some more Bo backstory.
Yeah. That's true, especially since we sort of got some of that info of her, like, secret monk info order, which, was a whole nother, which was a new layer onto it. But yeah, more backstory from some of the other characters would be so good. I'm so ready. I'm so ready for some of that.
I will side with Neverwinter Fool. I want Caduceus' backstory because we never know when Taliesin will lose another character.
Oh gosh, don't say that.
We didn't get anything from Molly except questions.
Oh.
Is it too soon for that?
Why you do? Why you do?
It's not too soon for that.
I love Caduceus so much. Mwah. Okay, so are we good?
We good.
Thanks.
Okay, so that was episode 44 of Critical Role that we covered. I'm Jess. You can find me at go_JG on Twitter or as Fordcaster420 on Reddit.
I'm Matt, and as soon as we're done, I am playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate on my Nintendo Switch.
I am Kate. You can find me at Sea Monster. No, I am not actually Deshala. Shh. Both on Twitter and on Twitch. And I am not on Reddit.
Thanks for coming out. This was awesome, y'all. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.